Radio London.
This is Total Sport from BBC Radio London. Nick Godwin here until 7 o'clock. Bobby Friction on the way at 7. Before that, there's plenty more Premier League football for us to munch our way through over the course of the next half an hour or so. And we are going to start with events at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday lunchtime in the Premier League. And Spurs fans were yet again put through the ringer as they thought they'd beaten Manchester United thanks to Richarlison's late goal, only to concede an equaliser to draw 2-2. It means the wait for Spurs to win their second home Premier League game of the season goes on and on. Here's Thomas Frank.
We badly want to win today. I think the way we did, especially second half, there was steps, of course, the big result light. It will make it, if you won 1-0 and we conceded 10 big chances, what will be the narrative, the bad performance or the win? I take the second half as a big positive going forward. Also, the way the fans pushed the team forward in the whole second half, I was very happy with that.
Very pleased to say that Hollie Agombar, host of Hollie's Hotspurs Live, the podcast, is with us now. Hollie, hello.
Hello, hiya.
I'm very pleased to have you on the programme. And as a Spurs fan, can you answer me this question? Are Spurs having a good season or not?
Oh, such a difficult question.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
I was going to say, thanks for bringing me in lightly. It's a difficult one because obviously being amongst it all the time, you're always so frustrated. But then when you kind of look at it from an outside perspective, things aren't going too bad in terms of where we are in the league, etc., and how we're doing in UCL. So it's a bit of a tricky one to give you a straight answer.
Yes, I must press you. No, I don't really want to press you. It's fine. Because I went to the Chelsea game and was a bit horrified, frankly. You're not allowed to play like that when you're playing Chelsea as Tottenham players. You just can't do it. And then I went to Copenhagen and thought, oh, this is terrific. There's the real sense. When the fourth goal went in, the place really felt like it had kind of come together off the back of the Van der Ven strike. But then I didn't see Saturday's game. So were there elements of Chelsea in there still, or were they playing with a bit more freedom? How do you kind of judge it across the week? Because we seem to have seen everything from Spurs in the last 7 days.
It's just Spurs in true fashion, in the words. I mean, 1 minute we're on a higher, the next minute we're kind of a bit back into our own ways. I mean, obviously the Copenhagen game was ridiculous. I mean, Mickey van der Ven is just unreal. He's a monster. And then obviously with that kind of momentum, I was kind of going into Saturday being like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. It's only United, we've done it before, champions of Europe, this, that and the other. And then again, it took us a little bit of time to kind of get into things. I don't know whether that's because our front line is a little bit all over the place in terms of our injuries, etc. And then we kind of left it last minute to get back into the game, and then once you think you've won it, all of a sudden United come back into it and we go to a draw. So yeah, it is very much up and down, and that's kind of what it is as a Spurs fan. You can never rest easy, shall I say.
That seems to be quite a healthy way of being a Spurs fan, just kind of going, yeah, this is how it is, folks. You've just got to strap yourself in and expect to be bounced around.
Pretty much. I mean, I'd love it if it was a lot easier than that, but I've just kind of learned this is how I've got to roll with it now. This is my team, I've got to stick with it. But yeah. That
sounds entirely reasonable. Let me ask you about Richarlison, because how annoying is it that he keeps taking his shirt off, having scored what he thinks is the winner, only to be still putting his shirt back on when another goal against Tottenham goes in? Is that starting to rankle a bit?
I think he's just a bit of a jinx when that happens. Like you say, the thing is, I kind of get it. You're in the emotions of the game. You think it's going to be a last kind of minute winner. I get it, you take your shirt off. But again, when hindsight kind of creeps in and you look at it again, you're like, mate, please just concentrate. Keep your shirt on. We've still got about 5 minutes left. And then obviously they go along and get the equaliser. But he is frustrating because the thing is, at times, like the start of the season, he started to play really, really well. He's banging in goals. Then there was a bit of a lull. And then obviously scoring that winner that we thought was going to be a winner. Again, that excitement kind of kicks in. But yeah, no, he is frustrating.
And he's such a... He kind of, the phrase wearing his heart on his sleeve almost doesn't do justice to Richarlison as well, because clearly he looked like a young puppy who just found a bone when he'd scored the goal. And then after the equaliser went in, my colleague Phil, who is very annoyed at him all the time about this, and then looked like the bone had been taken away when the goal goes in. I saw him when he missed the penalty on Tuesday, and he just... I mean, I know he's spoken about how that he finds the ups and downs of football quite difficult, but he's just such a sort of and I mean the phrase. Do you know what I mean by like a tragic figure? Do you understand what I mean by that? He's not that he's all tragedy, but he's so emotionally invested. He almost seems to be too emotionally invested to be a footballer. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
I definitely do, and I think that's the thing. I think in recent times, us Spurs fans, we want that bit of passion, we want that heart and desire. But like you say, there is a thin line, and I hope that, obviously, I forget, and we all probably do forget, that these players are human, and there is probably an element in there that maybe, obviously, missing that penalty against Copenhagen, he really wanted to prove a point, he wanted to go out there and score a goal. When he missed that first opportunity in the game, obviously, to then get that winner that he thought was going to be a winner, I get the emotion, but like you say, it is frustrating that every time he does take his shirt off, we then obviously go ahead and drop points.
It's just, honestly, the chances of that happening twice in the space of like 12 months is ludicrous. Just finally on the striker front, how much, because you haven't really got any strikers, apart from Richarlison, who, is so up and down, it's mad. How much sympathy do you have with Thomas Frank for the fact that any creativity that this Tottenham squad possessed seems to be injured?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and obviously the news about Kolo Muani as well. I thought he was a great presence at the top, especially when we haven't got the likes of Solanke. And I know we've touched on Richarlison, but I just don't think Richarlison's the man to kind of have that kind of pressure on him to go out and score goals, as we keep alluding to already. But I don't think it's just a striker problem. I think we just can't find that balance. We're not having Decky, with not having Maddison. We don't have that kind of locksmith in the middle to try and push those strikers forward. So I do feel sorry for him, because there's a lot of personnel that are out that can obviously create a lot of things. But at times when we've got Simmons in the middle, I feel like he's not allowed to express himself as much within this Frank system. So yeah, it is a really tough one, especially with, like I said, all the injuries we've got.
I was going to ask about Xavi Simmons as well, actually. I hadn't forgotten about him, but again, he seems another one who's, you can see it on his face, how hard he's trying, how desperately he wants it to work. Then when it doesn't work, he again just looks so like crestfallen, doesn't he? And you just sort of want to pat him on the back and tell him he's going to be okay. A lot of players do take time to adapt into the Premier League. It looks like he's going to be one of those.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think, obviously, not having Kudus as well at the weekend, I felt like they were kind of forming that little bond, and then to have him ripped away. And then obviously for Simmons in the week when he had to come off because Brennan Johnson got the red card, he was trying to find his momentum. I thought he played really well against Copenhagen, and then against United, again, we kind of lost that spark. But I think it's just a massive combination of things at the moment. Injuries, not being able to have the personnel that Frank wants to play in those certain areas. And again, the lack of concentration. So, yeah, I do feel sorry for Simmons. I think it will come. You're slowly starting to see it. But like I say, he's a new player to the Premier League. It is going to take time for him to adjust. And sadly, we don't have someone that can kind of come in and create that creativeness like Madders can do, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. Hollie, it's been great talking to you. Thanks ever so much indeed for your time. I know you've got your own podcast to do this evening. I hope that goes well.
No, thank you very much for having me on.
No problem. That's Hollie Agombar, host of Hollie's Hotspurs Live, with some great points about Tottenham.